Hi, welcome to I Unlimited, committed to helping you find your best self and inner peace.
Hey, fellow travelers. Have you ever lost your mind over something that you know is relatively inconsequential? Like you recognize that the reaction is way out of proportion to what happened? I know I have. And I had something happen yesterday. Maybe you can relate. I had to call a bunch of businesses, their customer service. And in a large percentage of them, I get that automated phone system, And I know in the past I have been alone in my house yelling, customer service! I don't know why I would think saying it louder, or I say it customer service, like that robot is going to know any better. But yesterday, literally in the past, it would just irritate me and just, it had me, it owned me, right? It just took me and off we went. And yesterday, same things were happening with the automated systems and so frustrating trying to get to a live person. But I noticed there's this gap, right? So I had the thought, but the thought never made it to my body. The thought didn't have me. So in the past, I would have had the thought, I would have felt like that emotionally and physically. So mental, emotional, physical would all have been one, compacted together, tangled, however you want to say it, all lined up the same way, angry and frustrated and right, by the way. This shouldn't be, and this is terrible. And why don't they, blah, blah, blah. And what happened yesterday was I had the thought, but then there'd be like a second and it would just, okay, well, this is what is. And then I'm trying to how do I get past this thing and get to a live person? If I can't get to it, how much am I willing to invest in this? What other ways? Is it email? Is it the little chat box? And it didn't have me. And I attribute that to a couple of, mostly one big thing. As I'm meditating now, when I get into the relaxation, and I'll do another video more about all that, but I noticed that once I did get into that, let it go, relax space, that then there's that urge to jump to the next thing. Okay, now I got to go to the resolution, to the answer, to fix it, to, however I'm going to get myself from my life that isn't right, to what's right, what's intended. And so there was always that, okay, now the next thing. And now, just naturally, I was like, let me sit in this nothing for a bit. Just drifting in that void. No thinking, no place to get to, no what's next, how do I solve this, how do I resolve it, how do I get to the next stage? Just being in nothing. Not for terribly long, but getting used to it, because, it might be that, but, let me just breathe into it. Let me just be with it. And the difference that has made, just those few minutes, I can see it in so many instances in my life, right? That it's creating that gap between the thoughts and the emotions and the physical and all of the different me's, there's the mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, right? They're now getting to separate. They each get their own space of distinction. So it doesn't all have to go down the same tunnel. It's creating kind of a moment of choice, a moment of quiet, that gap, For years, especially as women, we're, chasing the thigh gap, have legs thin enough. And you know what? I think the thought gap is providing way more benefit in life, a much more beneficial outcome in life for me. So I just urge you to try that. be able to be in that nothing. It's allowing not only that gap, it's allowing so much more calm, so much more peace. When I am getting to the customer service people, I'm finding lovely, gracious people. That still isn't necessarily smooth. You get one person, they say one thing, the next person says a completely different story. But I don't have to be angry about it. What does that serve anyway? They hang up the phone. They're not thinking of me anymore. They're on to their next thing. And I'm sitting there stewing about it. Who am I hurting? That's like sitting and hitting my thumb with a hammer over and over again. Like, what? Why? So it's just creating that nice space. And sometimes that space is for things to just fall into. Because like I said, I know if you imagine, you remember those big tubs of those plastic balls in the summertime, kind of like the size of a basketball or something, and you could have it in a pool. Have you ever tried to push a ball below the surface of the water? It's really hard. Like a ball that's intended to float. It wants to be up above the surface, and it takes a lot to push it down, right? And then if you slip for a millisecond off that center, or you got more than one, it's going to come up, and it doesn't just gently rise to the surface. Hello. No, it comes shooting up out, right? And that felt to me kind of like the emotions inside. I'm talking about, there were times even walking my dogs, if they pulled on the leash, what I felt inside was like this rage come bubbling up. And I'd be like, why are you so angry about that? And I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I have some theories, but I never got to that, that is what's at the bottom of this. But because I have this gap, this separation, it still works. It's still resolving that I don't have that drive to anger and frustration like I did, but if you've ever had that, I think it's a couple of things that cause that. Is one, we have a preset image in our mind of how the interaction would go or should go. And two, the stuff that we haven't resolved. And I'm not going to say necessarily expressed, because sometimes it doesn't need to be expressed. Sometimes it's just me getting clear about something for myself. So sometimes it's just resolving. The times that it does need to be expressed, as you hear my dogs expressing themselves, it doesn't have to be that eruption, right? But I think all the stuff we hold in that we may be aware of, sometimes we're like, not worth it, don't say anything. I can't, they have more power or authority. But a lot of times these things are going on in the background. We're so good, especially an issue that came from childhood. We've had so much practice, we don't even hear it anymore. It just gets stuffed down, and then these moments that it erupts, right? Takes you by surprise. And I remember I had a year, 15-month period where, how they say there's like 5 major stressors in life. And I had everything happen to me in that 1 year. And people were saying to me, how are you doing it? Like, you haven't lost a beat. You're so calm and this and that. And I was like, well, as each thing came, it was so surprising and shocking that you're just, And so then you're like, okay, how do I deal with this? What needs to happen? What do I need to do? So, but what I'm really concerned about is, like, I'm going to go to the grocery store one day and they'll be out of, like, say, cream corn, and I'm going to be some sobbing, crying mess on the floor of aisle 9. Because isn't that the way? Like, the big things, like, okay, got it. I have to show up. I have to handle this. Falling apart isn't going to help. But it's that little thing, right, that sneaks around your defenses and gets you. Or, and that one thing that pierces, everything erupts, everything we've been holding down. So, again, I just urge you to put that in the meditative practice and look at some other videos. I'm going to be talking more about some easier ways to get into that relaxation. Because if you were like me, I'd be like, okay, I meditated, got 15 minutes. Got to get that done. Let's get that, not only the meditation, but get to the answer, the resolution, the solution, move to a new level in 15 minutes. And so I'd sit there like, okay, calm, relax, get there. Okay, am I there? Is that it? Am I done? I mean, just, So first I had to find the way of quieting that and being able to get into that, letting stuff go. And it isn't necessarily about nothingness in the mind. So anyhow, look for other videos and get that help. But really consider adding that nothingness. And it's something, once you experience it, you can kind of set that for yourself just in seconds throughout the day. Just revisit it, restore yourself. And as you start separating, the thoughts and your spiritual self, mental, emotional, physical, it's really interesting what's showing up, the choices you have, the opportunities. So I can't wait to keep following and see where it goes. So I hope that helped you. And as I say, I hope that helped you find your best self and inner peace.
I hope this video helped you rise higher and shine brighter. Keep going. Invest just a few minutes here with me each day, and you'll see your happiness, fulfillment, and inner peace grow. Please remember to share, like, and subscribe to this channel so others can find their best selves and inner peace too.